Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a closer look at a really tragic event from just a few days ago in San Diego, a private jet crash that's impacted quite a few people.
That's right. We've been looking through the news reports, official statements, trying to piece together what happened based on those sources. It's a tough subject, definitely, but our aim here is to give you a clear understanding of the details that have emerged so far.
Exactly. So the mission today is to unpack it, who was involved, what happened on the ground, and what the initial investigation is starting to suggest. Basically, distilling the key information for you.
It's just hard to picture. You know, an ordinary Thursday morning, quiet neighborhood, and then suddenly, just before 4 a.m., everything changes completely.
Yeah. Let's start right there with the incident itself, the basic facts. What exactly happened?
Well, the reports all say it was a small private jet that crashed, identified as a Cessna 550.
Oh, yeah?
That's also known as a Cessna Citation 2 model.
Okay, a Cessna Citation 2. And this was, as you said, early Thursday, just before 4 a.m. The location was near Salmon Street in the Murphy Canyon part of San Diego.
And it was apparently preparing to land on approach to Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport nearby.
And the initial word from authorities? The FAA, I think?
Yes, the Federal Aviation Administration. Their initial assessment was incredibly grim. All 6 passengers on board were presumed dead, no survivors expected.
Just devastating. 6 people. Can we trace the plane's flight? Where did it start out?
Yeah, the sources point to it originating quite far away, actually. Teterboro, New Jersey. Started its journey Wednesday night.
Wow, New Jersey all the way to San Diego. That's a long haul for that type of jet. Must have stopped somewhere.
It did, yes. Made a refueling stop. The flight path details show it landed at Colonel James Jabara Airport in Wichita, Kansas, before heading on to San Diego.
Okay, Wichita. Got it. And this leads us to the people on board, 6 individuals. And that initial report from the FAA about no survivors seems to have been borne out by later information.
Sadly, yes. The sources do identify some of the people involved. One was Dave Shapiro. He was 42, co-founder of a music agency, Sound Talent Group.
Right, Sound Talent Group. And the reports mentioned he was actually listed as the owner of this plane.
That's correct. And the FAA records also showed he held a pilot's license.
Okay. And his agency, Sound Talent Group, they put out a statement.
They did. A statement about losing their co-founder, but also colleagues and friends. Deeply personal. One of the articles we saw from Sky News mentioned 2 other employees from the agency were on the plane too, though they weren't named in that particular piece.
So multiple people from the same company. That's just terrible.
And there was also mention of Daniel Williams. People might know him as the former drummer for the metal band The Devil Wears Prada.
Ah, okay. How did they connect him to the flight?
Well, it seems he posted something on social media about getting on the plane with Dave Shapiro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And his former bandmates posted a tribute. Really short, but powerful. Just no words. We owe you everything. Love you forever.
Hits hard. Really gives you a sense of the loss.
It does. And there are some really touching descriptions of Dave Shapiro in the sources, too. The band Hanson called him a longtime friend, fearless in life and tireless in his work. Things like that.
Yeah, I saw that quote too about being the kind of friend you would want on your speed dial. That really paints a picture, doesn't it? Someone reliable, energetic.
Absolutely. They mentioned he was always working on something new or off on an adventure. Seemed like a very dynamic person.
And Sound Talent Group, they represent some well-known artists, right? Hanson, Vanessa Carlton, Sum 41.
Yeah, quite a roster. So this is clearly a huge loss, not just for the families, but for that whole music community.
Definitely. Now, shifting focus, the impact on the ground, the crash site itself, it sounds like it was just devastating for that neighborhood.
Completely. The officials used words like horrific. It crashed right into a military housing area. And it wasn't like it crashed near homes. It sounds like it hit at least one house directly.
Oh my goodness. And the damage spread from there.
Oh yeah. Widespread. Several homes caught fire. The report said at least 10 homes damaged overall. One home was described as completely destroyed. And cars on the street damaged, burning.
What caused the fire to spread so badly on the street itself?
Jet fuel. Apparently it just ran down the street after the crash. The police chief, Scott Wall, just said the scene was pretty horrific to see. Simple, but tells you a lot.
And there was that quote from the fire chief, Dan Eddy, really vivid.
Yeah, he said the fuel took out every single car that was on both sides of the street and then added. It was like something from a movie. You can just imagine the chaos.
Unbelievable. Were people on the ground hurt? Residents?
Yes, unfortunately. 8 people were reported injured. Some got hurt trying to get away from the scene. Others treated for smoke inhalation. Understandable in that situation.
Absolutely. And they had to evacuate people, I assume?
Yeah, about 100 residents had to leave their homes. They were taken to a nearby school for shelter. One report mentioned seeing families just standing outside in a car park in their pajamas, just suddenly displaced.
Terrible. And it wasn't clear when they could even go back.
No, not at the time of those reports. There was one slightly brighter note, though. Police managed to rescue 3 husky puppies from one of the homes that was damaged.
Oh, thank goodness. Small mercy and all that.
Well,
It's worth remembering the context of this neighborhood, too. Lots of military families live there, right?
yes, it's military housing, and the whole area is kind of used to planes. You've got Marine Corps Air Station Miramar nearby, Montgomery Gibbs, where this plane was headed, Gillespie Field. Lots of air traffic.
Right. And the local schools. Hancock Elementary and Miller Elementary.
They were set to reopen on Friday, according to the reports we saw. Trying to get back to some normalcy, I suppose.
Okay, so the big question now is, why did this happen? Investigators must be looking into various factors. What's emerged initially?
Well, the NTSB, that's the National Transportation Safety Board, they're leading the investigation, along with the FAA. A major factor mentioned right away was the weather. It was apparently very foggy.
Yeah, I remember the fire chief, Dan Eddy, was quoted saying you could barely see in front of you. That sounds serious for a landing.
Absolutely. Dense fog is always a challenge. And then there are initial findings suggesting the jet hit something before it crashed. Specifically, it seems it clipped a power line.
A power line. Okay, the fire chief mentioned that too, didn't he? That they'd be looking into whether it hit one.
Yes, that's definitely a key point investigators will be focusing on.
Hitting a power line, especially in thick fog, you can see how that could lead to disaster. Was there anything else mentioned, like about the airport communications?
The sources did note that there wasn't an active communication tower at that specific time. But, the NTSB will look at absolutely everything. The weather data, the plane's maintenance records, the pilot's actions, air traffic control communications, the wreckage itself.
Yeah.
It's a meticulous process.
Right, it'll take time to get definitive answers. So if we just sort of pull back and look at the whole picture we've discussed. The flight, people lost, the incredible impact on the ground, these initial investigation details. What's the main takeaway here?
I think it really highlights how an aviation incident is never just about the mechanics or the technical side. It's profoundly human. The loss for the families, the trauma for the residents. It affects so many lives so deeply.
Yeah, those descriptions from the ground, like something from a movie, it just conveys that shock, the suddenness and scale of it all for the people living there.
And it really shows you need multiple perspectives to understand something like this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You've got the investigators focused on the how and why from a technical standpoint. But then there's the immediate human tragedy, the community trying to cope and rebuild. They're all crucial parts of the story.
It's such a complex interplay, like you said. Technology, weather, human lives, community, all colliding in one tragic moment. This deep dive really brought that home, the personal losses, the chaos on the ground, and the questions investigators are now working to answer.
It really does make you think, doesn't it? How something happening miles above could just shatter lives on the ground in an instant. And maybe it leaves you considering all those different facets, the technical puzzle, the personal grief, the community resilience that are all part of understanding such a terrible event.